And now, let's get into the impromptu live showcase. So I'm going to try my best to kind of show you guys everything with my custom Boxyboo figurine. I technically made him a long time ago. But, let's see here. There we go. But I never ended up doing an actual showcase on him. So I decided to try to do it on this live stream and then pretty much just repost this section as its own little video for those who aren't in the live but still want to see the little showcase. So basically you just get an unscripted showcase with a lot more ums in it. And yeah, so I guess the easiest way to start the showcase is to just sort of show it to you. So this is my custom Boxyboo figurine. I like to think I did a pretty good job. If you've been here for a while, you know I don't aim for like 100% accuracy and stuff. I kind of just mostly go for like, as long as it fits the vibe and it's kind of like my own style, like art style, I think it looks good enough. So it's not exactly like a one-to-one recreation, if that makes sense. So it's like my own little spin on Boxy. But yeah, so he's got this, the way I colored part of him was I actually used some fabric for this like almost fur effect on this like middle section, and then this like core sides are all popsicle sticks painted like slightly darker blue, and then I did like a dark wash on the entire thing. And yeah, the little star isn't perfect, but I think it kind of adds to the effect, I guess. And yeah, so the lid isn't really, it doesn't lock, it's just on like two little hinges right here and there. And then there's a Lego like port right there, and another one on the back side. Bit of paint scratched there, but that's not really important. I'll show you guys in a sec. And then on the bottom side there are two holes, and you can kind of see it with the glare. There's also two Lego pegs here. Hey, Atomic's in chat. What's up? How's it hanging? And yeah, so it's got the two on the bottom as well, and then I made these two little flaps on the side to kind of cover the like arm holes. Unfortunately, they sometimes get a little too flush, so I have to use like an X-Acto knife or something flat to kind of like get it and like pry it up. So it would be more of like the plan is to like stop motion animate these flaps on the side, and maybe use like green screen to move this one around, because this guy is in a project that is on the way. And when I say on the way, I mean it is the next one on the chopping block. So I'm currently like throwing my entirety of my being into it. But yeah, so it's just the same thing on the other side, but instead of it being a like whole Lego piece, it's a post, so you can kind of see it in there. Greetings from New Zealand. Oh, that's cool. Hello. Oh wait. Hello. And yeah, so pretty much he's kind of like a Build-A-Figure. I used Legos and stuff. I personally think that Legos as like a crafting supply is like a really good idea, because you can get these like simple like locking joints to connect things if you're making like custom figures and stuff. So personally, I'm in the boat where I don't care if I kind of like destroy like Legos to use the functionality side of it for a project. So that's kind of like how I feel about using these things, and honestly I think more people should do it. But yeah, so next piece, let's see here, tilt that down, is this little stand. Oh my god, it's dusty. it's this little stand here. It's mostly green so that I can key it out. And if you notice, it has to be kind of this L shape, and I'll show you that more in a second on why. But essentially, it's mostly just so that he can stand up with his spring legs still, because, like, let's be real, if he just had spring legs and no extra support, he wouldn't stand up. And instead of having like a second, like another like post directly under him to like hold him up in the center like this, like that, the reason that's not a good idea is because if I film it from a specific angle and that green rod is in the middle there and his 2 spring feet are on both sides, and then I key it out, there'll be holes in the leg behind the rod, if that makes sense. So this leg would be totally fine, but this leg would have like a green, like a keyed out hole in front of it if the camera was from like that perspective. So in other words, I put like a bunch of metal pieces in here and like hot glued them in to make it heavy, and then I used a little metal piece and a rod. And then at the top here, it's got this little piece. I added this because it leaned forward a lot, so this little L piece helps keep the box part steady. And yeah, so this piece just sort of slots in like this, like that. I recommend, if you are going to use Lego pieces for this, to use the double length ones, just because they'll secure in place longer, or further, I guess, if that makes sense, and it just makes a more sturdy connection. So that clicks in there, like so, and we got like a little boxy half started here. And yeah, I'll just show you guys I'll just show you guys his little limbs separately. So here's his 2 feet. They have these little toe spikes on them. They're just black on the bottom, a little covered in felt to give them that like fur effect. And then for the legs, what I did was I took a metal slinky, and some good old wire cutters, nipped it up into some smaller size pieces, and then I stretched it and kind of bent the metal with some pliers to kind of permanently stretch it out into this like coil shape. And then after that was done, I took red fabric and just glued it as I was going around it. And you can kind of see the seam on there, but honestly, whenever there's like a seam on like my characters and stuff, when it comes with this stuff, I honestly like to kind of almost highlight them, like add some black paint, kind of make it look like there's like actually a seam there. That's just me, but yeah. So on the top, it's got this Lego piece connected. It's very secure in there, and then basically, all I do, it's technically easier if he's not already on the stand, but all I do is just sort of click them in place here. Which side is this? Make sure I get them on the right sides. That's kind of why I chose the... Which side is this? Did I label these? I did not. There we go. They're both set up slightly different, so I want to make sure the spring goes in the right way. Mostly just because I want it to look correct. That's right. I really am. This is why my showcases take so long to come out, because normally I would cut out this part. I really just put those in backwards. What is this, a USB port? There we go. So you can kind of see, they just clip in place. And then it's the same height as them, so it's like technically he's standing from this, and these are just like loose, if that makes sense. But yeah, so there's his little legs, and then for his arms, I did the exact same thing with the coil part, and then I did the like whole Lego piece, if that makes sense. And I made his little hand look like this. And you might be wondering what this piece on the back is for. That's so that when he's like facing the camera, I can, instead of having to stop motion animate him, I can just wear a green screen and kind of like move him around with my hand. And since it's behind this spring, it shouldn't like key out any of it, if that makes sense. And then lastly, with both hands, is I used a set of Lego minifigure legs for these finger joints here on these. It's not all four of them. These two are static, they're glued in place, and then these two can kind of close a little and open. It's mostly so that if I want to like stop motion animate them or kind of have the hands move a little bit, I can do that when editing. And then depending on the angle, I actually connected this piece again with Legos, so that the only part that shows is just this little clipped piece. I don't think it stands out that much, but then I can like clip it on to be able to like move it around. You guys like this little like live impromptu showcase format? I'm kind of digging it. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the live chat and or in the comments on this video once I repost it. But yeah, so the other hand is basically identical, just reversed, like so. And yeah, so they clip in just like the legs do, and because they're Legos, it can rotate 360 right there. So I can like fully, it gives me a lot of range of motion, if that makes sense. Like it can fully like rotate and sometimes pop off. Pop off. My Hero Vigilantes reference. That show is goated, by the way. Do the kids still say goated? I don't know. But yeah, so we got most of them put together. You can see he's looking pretty cool so far. Now we got one final piece, not counting this little stack of Legos, because the head kind of makes him a little top heavy, but it should be fine when I go to film because I'll be able to kind of like work with it. But if I'm like displaying him, I like to put a piece right here as well, just because like over time with the head in addition to the legs and stuff, it does kind of like tilt forward, and I just don't want it to fall over. So I just made this like little makeshift Lego stack. But yeah, so flip it up, and then you would just peg in the custom head. But I'll show you this real fast first. Oh, that's fine. But yeah, so at the moment it is locked in place with this Lego piece that I glued and painted, and basically it's just like a little box that opens and closes, but in the connection area I put like black fabric going from up here all the way down, crossing the seam there, and that's why it looks like it keeps going. And then I kind of added this like hot glue effect with all of these little sharp teeth pieces and nail pieces and some toothpicks. So it's like actually a little pointy, like a couple of these are metal, but I honestly think that adds to the freakiness of the whole thing. And then I kind of added this like glossy like eye effect where it's kind of like his eyes are like really big. And yeah, so his neck piece actually has a core going through it. It's like this, I think it was like a lamp, like one of those like clip-on lamps, like the neck piece, where it's like that kind of like bendable wire where it like it'll hold its shape. So I like kind of twisted it around and did this like thing, kind of glued it together, but it's still relatively flexible. And then at the bottom here, I glued in some Lego pieces and made it flat so that when I plug it into the torso, it looks pretty cool. And yeah, so to unlock this piece here, it's just, I forget what the term is for this like square hole piece, but there's or like plus, I guess it's a plus. There's another one in there, so you kind of just have to slot it off of that and pull it out. So it's just like a click and then like that. And then after that's out, his head just doesn't have anything besides fabric connecting it. So he can open his mouth completely, which I think is kind of cool looking. To kind of be like, chomp. And then I made sure to, when I was gluing all the different teeth in, to kind of line it up so that he can close his mouth completely. And then like slowly like open it and then be like, kind of thing. Hopefully it'll look really cool once I put the entire video together. It'll probably be a little while, but make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're interested in seeing that. And now, for the final adieu, before we rip the skin off of Bendy, or Elmo, to make him Bendy. Okay, this piece just sort of clicks in here. And then we'll just scooch him back a little so you guys can see him. And mostly, I didn't really think about this while I was building him, but like the metal in his head does kind of make him a little top heavy, so that was another reason I had to like heavily secure the base and stuff. But yeah, so if I want to make him move, all I have to do is pop this little piece back in here, wear like a green screen suit, and then kind of just like pretty much like puppeteer him, if that makes sense. And like I can make him close and open his mouth. If I want to, I can like bend his neck a little bit more to kind of like straighten it out, make it tall, or kind of like bend it down a little bit. I just have to be careful to not like break it. And yeah, so that is the entire Boxyboo showcase that I procrastinated for about a year and a half. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little impromptu showcase full of ums. And if you're watching this as its own video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're watching this on the live stream, we got an Elmo to get to. So, fuck.